Hey folks, welcome to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. Hey, what's going on in the garden in March? Let's go take a look. Okay, I am in zone 9A. It is already nice and warm here. We will have a cool front coming through later this week, but and it's surprisingly sunny today when most of the week is forecast to be overcast and cloudy. But for the most part, the temperatures are here for sowing seeds directly in your soil and for putting your plants out. If you haven't started gardening in zone 9A, you better get on it because, yeah, it's time. We do have a long growing season. If you're late, I've started as late as April, sometimes early May, and I still get full harvests, but sometimes I don't get as much as I should get because when summer comes around, it really shuts down your garden, your spring garden. Here in zone 9, you can grow 3 distinct seasons. You can grow a spring garden, you can put in a summer garden of heat-loving crops, and then you can grow a garden all through the winter if you start your fall-winter garden about October. And yeah, so check out your local extension agent. In my area, Texas A&M puts out a lot of good information for gardening in Texas, and they publish they support our local extension here in Harris County. So yeah, let's go look at the garden. Okay, one of the things that I've been doing out here is letting my turnips here, these Japanese red turnips, go to seed. And you can see that when they go to seed, the flowers form, and along the stem you get these little pods, these little guys right here. Once these pods get nice and plump, they start to plump up, you can see the seeds in there. And about that point, that's when you want to pull them and hang them to dry. So I'm going to find me a nice selection, pull them out, and then I'll clear this bed for spring. This seems to be about the size you want. These little pods, you can see the seeds are fully formed in there. And I'm using my grapevines, which have not yet woke up, to hang these on upside down and let them dry here. And once they're dry, I'll take them indoors. You can see these pods are nice and plump. I should get some seeds out of here. I think that's all I need, about 3 plants. That'll give me enough seed. So flame weeding allows us to kill off any seeds that are on the top ½ inch or inch of soil, and we won't really turn up that soil. And so it's a real good way to get rid of just the upper surface. A lot of people think it might harm the biology of the soil, but it doesn't. Most of the biology of your soil is not in that dry upper crust layer, but this is an effective way to help minimize, it doesn't kill everything, but it helps minimize your weeds. So what I've done is I brought in some outside manure and humus. You'd think I would have learned my lesson, but if you are trusting in outside compost, outside manures, hay brought into your garden like coastal Bermuda hay to use for mulch in your garden, be very cautious because there's a substance out there called aminopyralids, and they go by several different names. They're very much related in molecular structure. It's a broadleaf herbicide that's applied on hay and fed to cows, composted, but the persistency of that molecule still kills plants for up to 4 or 5 years, they say. I wrecked my bed over there last year with hay brought in as mulch. Killed all my tomato plants, and I'll link you to the video up there about that awful episode. There is a way that you can bring in safely things from outside. You do a bioassay basically. On these bags of humus and manure, I put a slit in some of them. Unfortunately, I didn't show any of it, but I put some of my little young tomato plants in there and let them grow, and they grew fine. So these are not tainted, and I need to top my garden with compost, and I don't have enough ready. I used it up all in the fall. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to just spread some compost on the top layer now. Now, I won't be mixing this into my soil. That's because it's heavy in wood chips. And those wood chips, if they get into the soil, they'll bind up resources as the bacteria go to work breaking down all that wood. So just lay it on top. It serves both as a planting medium and a mulch. But yeah, don't mix it in. Just rake it on top. It's called a top dressing. I'm going to be planting cucumbers in this little area here, and I'm going to do 4 hills of Armenian cucumbers, also called snake melon. But yeah, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to make my hills out of potting soil. I find that those germinate seeds much quicker. And yeah, we've always had cucumbers in our garden, and we enjoy having them. I'll trellis them vertically right here, right next to my potatoes, and over here we're going to have peppers, eggplants, and tomatillos and tomatoes, and some beans down there as well. So this will be cucumbers this year. So I'm going to start making my hills. Now you don't need much. The purpose of the hill is just to give the cucumber a place to germinate. Once its roots get down into the soil, you don't really even need a hill, and it will disappear over time. I'll be growing this Armenian cucumber. It is also called snake melon or serpent cucumber. It's not a true cucumber, it's a melon, but it acts like a cucumber. And I can pickle these and do good things with these. So yeah, already opened them up to look at the seed. There's a lot of seed in there. I'm going to plant several seeds per hill. And in the past, when we've planted cucumbers, we've had success multi-sowing many seeds here, because some of them don't come up, some of them get washed away, and that's all there is to it. Just put that in there like so, about 1/2 inch deep, and I'll water this in real good, and we'll be on our way to cucumbers. Here we go. We've had some trouble sowing cucumbers in the soil, directly sowing them, but cucumbers prefer that. They prefer to be started in place. Their roots are pretty sensitive, and you don't want to grow them in containers and transplant them if you don't have to. And I think the temperatures here are enough that these will come up. So they say that nasturtiums are a good companion plant for cucumbers and melons, because they sprawl, they spread, they shade the ground, and they're edible. So I've started several kinds of nasturtium this year, and I'll be planting these as pollinator attractors in the midst of my cucumbers. So I'm going to put these 2 plants in. I only had 2 of these varieties come up, but one of them's really strong. They're looking like they need to go in, so I'll put them in. I don't mind a sprawling plant. It gives good ground cover and serves as a living mulch. And if you get too much plant, you just come in and cut them back. All right, we have some cucumbers planted. I also took the opportunity to put in a couple of tomatoes. Guys, I've been thinking, I have so many tomatoes, and I'm not an alarmist at all, but all this virus stuff has got me thinking that it would be prudent and wise to not be an alarmist. But I think I'm going to plant some high-density nutrition food here instead of my original plan. So I think I'm going to put in some mustard greens, at least a 4x4 square of them, and those will produce all through the summer. And you never know what's going to happen with these economic trials. You know, we place our faith in God, we place our trust in Jesus Christ, but at the same time we need to be wise. And gardening is a good way to provide for yourself some food. So I think I'm going to put some mustard here. So I've gone in and I've put my furrows here about, well, I just took a stick and dug some furrows. You're supposed to plant these about a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch deep. But I'm not going to cover them over now, because this is pretty coarse stuff that I put on here. I'm going to use my trick that I use with my root crops. And I'm going to take some potting soil. You could use peat moss or seed starting mix, this real fine stuff. And I'm just going to sprinkle it over my rows here where I've placed my seeds. My seeds are now in. And I'm just going to put this in there lightly, so that this will, when I water it in, will give the seeds good contact with the soil. That's about it. Now we've got some mustard greens. So far in the garden, this is mid-March. My tomatoes are off to a good start. Those are eggplants there. And they really like being in the ground. You can see a big difference between these plants from when I put them in and now. And it's only been, what, 10 days? But yeah, once you get plants in the ground, they really show that planting in the ground is the way to go. Look at this squash over here. This guy is really taken off over here. just since being put in 10 days ago. Both of these are doing really well. Here are all my starts. These are being made ready for my church family. Some of them. I'll keep a few, but most of this stuff is for my church family. And yeah, the benefit of going to church, huh? Get free food. All my potted tomatoes are doing fine. So far, I haven't seen any stress on them. It's been pretty mild these days with cloudiness and intermittent sunshine. We got about a week of cloudiness ahead, so I don't expect any strain here, but yeah, look at this guy. This guy's looking strong and powerful right here, this little dwarf. And that's my single seed challenge, putting on new branches. I'm not sure if I'm going to trellis this guy upwards or let him sprawl. Over here we've got our micro dwarfs and dwarfs. That guy and that guy are already putting on blossoms, and I don't expect them to get very big. I put two in this one even. That's how micro these dwarfs are supposed to be. We shall see. You can pick up trays of these ornamental flowers at the Home Depot for pretty cheap. You get 9 plants for $10, and yeah, that'll keep the bees and the bugs and everything interested in this garden, and that's what I want. I want pollinators. And so all along my border here, I'm starting to put in pollinators. Some of these, like those two little guys there and those two little guys there, those are marigolds I started from seed. But I thought, you know, I really liked some of these flowers I saw, so I've put in a bunch of them. These are all my tomato plants and pepper plants that were started in a small container and divided out. I have a video on that, on how to divide these things, and I'll link you to that video. But they're doing fine. They're real happy to be outside. Now, these are my other pollinator attractors that I sowed. I've got all kinds of flowers in there, and they're coming up just fine. I'll have to thin them out. But yeah, man, the garden's looking great. I'm so happy. Look here. Right in here, my beans are coming up. These are lima beans. Look at that little guy pushing up. I never get tired of seeing how these guys grow. Now, I didn't see these this morning, so this is just about 6 hours worth of growth, and they're starting to push up. Awesome. What I'll do is I'll put a trellis here, just right across here, just a net going straight up, and these beans will climb up that net. My son comes across this way, and so they won't be shading out their neighbors. Well, my potatoes are coming up now in these containers that I planted them in, and you can see some have been up for a while, some are just breaking the surface. Those are the ones that I'm going to show you the difference between potatoes that are indeterminate and determinate, because you treat them differently. I'm going to hill those up as if they were indeterminates, but they're determinates, and I made a mistake when I planted those. I corrected these three. Those I'm going to show you what happens when you plant them and grow them wrong. I'm going to do another bucket of potatoes just because I had some left over and I don't want them to go to waste.
Well, there you have it. There's a garden tour. That's what my garden looks like in mid-March, and I still have a lot of work to do out there. Hopefully we'll have a good season. Hopefully I'll be able to find a good source for lots and lots of mulch. I think I have it covered with my leaves, but we'll see. But yeah, happy gardening to you. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.